So you should have started working on this warm-up already. We'll go over it right now. I know lots of us are trickling in the brains. If you just came in, just take your book out. We're on page 595. So if you didn't already, start on the warm-up, true or false. So we're selecting all the statements that are true. So think distributive property. After you distribute, what should it equal on the other side? I'll give you another minute or so to finish it up. It selects all that are true, so you can have more than one. So don't just pick one, you can have more than one. So I'll just kind of go one by one and we'll distribute and then we'll see which ones are true. So on this first one we have 4 minus 2 parentheses 3 plus 7 and we want to see if that's equal. So did you say yes or no for A? Yes or no? True or false? So let's see. What are we distributing on this one? On this half. What are we distributing? What number? The 2, and then we can say negative 2, right? So I'm distributing a negative 2. So when I distribute that, I get negative 2 times 3, right? So I have 4, and then it's going to be negative 2 times 3. And then it's negative 2 times what? 7. So negative 2 times 7. So does that work? Is that what they put? So that one's okay. Alrighty, down here I have 4 minus, again, same thing on this side. What they did in here is they put plus minus. So where we had just minus, they had plus minus. So does that still work? Yes, because it's kind of hidden under the green, right? But plus and negative is the same as subtraction, so this would also be okay. Down here, same thing, negative 2 times 3. What's a little wrong with this end? That it's adding the 2. What should this sign be right here? Negative, right? This should either say plus minus or just minus, right? So that one. Okay. And then the last one, I know I don't have it up here. Let's see, I'll just write it up here. So we have 4 minus 2 times 3 and plus 2 times 7. Does that work? So if I look at the original, right, I had 4 minus a 2 and then 3 plus 7. So what if I just distributed 2 and not the negative 2? What would it look like? It would be positive in here, right? So I would have a 2 times 3, right, distributed. If I just distribute the 2, 2 times 3, and then it would be 2 times 7. And would you be adding them or subtracting them? But what kind of 2 was it? So then it would be adding, right? And then I still have this negative outside that I could distribute. So this one actually works too. So the only one that was wrong was C. So they all work except for C. So we started combining like terms on Friday. So if you were taking notes on Friday, we were, just throw it on my desk. Thank you. We were combining like terms. So today we're going to continue that. So the main idea here is if I have, and I know it's not a problem or anything, but just an example. If I have 2x plus 5, can I add those numbers together? The 2. 5 doesn't have a variable, right? So this is an x, but but this one does not. But if I have this, now can I add them? Yes, and what do you add? You add the numbers, and what are those numbers called? Coefficients. So when they both have the same variable, we can combine, because it might be adding or subtracting, so I'm going to say combine the coefficients. So if you want to write that somewhere on your paper, that's kind of the main idea, is when we have can somebody open the door? When we have the same variable, we can combine those coefficients. So whether it's adding those numbers together or subtracting them, if I have the same variable, I can add those coefficients. Why is it important that I said the same variable? Like, what if this was y? I can't. The variables could stand for different numbers, right? X and y aren't talking about the same thing necessarily, right? So I can't add them if they have different, but if they have the same variables, x and x, right? Think apples and oranges, right? You can't add apples and oranges. If you have 2 apples and 5 apples, I can say I have 7 apples. So, same variable, combine the coefficients. Alright, so let's get into some examples. Go ahead and turn the page. Okay, so same expression. We're trying to write it with fewer terms. So I want to condense it down. So if there's anything I can combine, I want to combine those together. So, alrighty, so 4 different people are given the same expression. They're all trying to condense it down. So we want to figure out who we agree with. So starting with Noah, he says, I worked with the problem from left to right and ended up with 20 minus 45x. So let's see what he did. So we start here and he does 8 minus 3 parentheses 4 minus 9x. So what does it look like he did first, going from step 1 to step 2? It looks like he did 8 minus 3, right? Because then he ended up with a 5. Is that correct? No. Right? Order of operations, we're not going to do that first. So do we agree with Noah? No. Right? We can't do that. So we're going to say no to Noah. Alrighty, over with Lynn, says that she started inside the parentheses. Okay, so didn't touch the 8 minus 3, but we went in the parentheses and did something, and we ended up with negative 5x inside. What does it look like she did? Looks like she did 4 minus 9. Can I do that? I want to distribute the 3. What is even another reason why I can't do that inside? 4 doesn't have x, so just what we talked about on the last slide, right? This guy doesn't have an x, so can I combine those terms? No. No, right? Jada says she used the distributive property, so I think this is what you're saying. We needed to multiply that 3. So we distribute the 3. 3 times 4 gave me 12. 3 times 9 gave me 27, and we left that negative outside, so I didn't have to worry about it. So that's okay. But then we do 8 minus 12, and then where do we go? Then from here we have minus negative 27x. So it looks like maybe we did what with this negative sign? Could I maybe treat this like a negative 1 and distribute it inside? So that would be a negative 12, okay? And then we would have, which is minus a negative, right? So is that okay? Yeah. So all they did was distribute that negative. And then it looks like they started combining some things. So, let's see. We have a positive 27x. Would I have a positive 27x? Yes, why? There's a negative, right? So that tells me that that's a positive 27x. And then I have a minus 4. Where did that come from? 8 minus 12 would give me minus 4. So would it be okay if I had wrote it maybe this way? That might have been our first step, right? We would have done the 8 minus 4, which is negative 4. And then negative 27x, right? We would say plus 27x. And does this mean the same thing as that?
Yes.
Yeah, you can just flip the order. And why is it okay that we flip the order? Because it's just 1 plus 2 is 2 plus 1, right? It's just addition, so we get to switch. So this one is actually good. We like Jada's. Alright. Andre says he also used the distributive property, but he ended up with something slightly different. Okay, so first he distributes the. Does it look like he's distributing a negative 3 or a positive 3?
No, negative.
It looks like he distributes negative here, right? Because we end up with negative 12. But I still have negative 27x. So what does it look like he forgot to do? It looks like he distributed a 3, but he forgot to do the negative 3, right? So he only distributed the negative here and not here. Is that okay? No. So we don't agree with that. So it's okay if you just distribute the 3, but you need to be consistent, right? Like on this one, we just did the 3, but then we did the negative, right? So if you choose to do the positive 3, you have to do that to both. Same thing if you do the negative 3, you have to do it to both. You can't do 1 and 1. Alright. Any questions? Let's move on. Next one, this is at the bottom of the next page. We're going to skip over the are you ready for more. So here we go. So Diego's taking a math quiz. There's a question that has this expression, 8x minus 9 minus 12x plus 5. So Diego's teacher said that there was a typo and there was supposed to be parentheses somewhere in there. Okay, so somehow the test printed and it forgot the parentheses. So first question is, where could I put the parentheses that it would still be equivalent? And then on this one, where could I put them that it would be not equivalent? So take a couple minutes with the person next to you, talk it out. Where could you put the parentheses that it's still true, that it's still the same expression, and where could you put them that it was not? And so work with the people next to you, take a couple seconds, and talk it out. Yeah, so just one set of parentheses. Where could you put two numbers together? So in parentheses that it would still be the same, and then where it would not be the same. So be careful, right, with the negatives, because when you put the parentheses, you might have to distribute that negative and it'll change. So figure out where you can put them. It's still the same. So talk it out. You're awfully quiet. Talk it out. Talk with the person next to you. What do you think? Where could you put them? What do you think? Where could you put the parentheses? I hear one group talking. Maybe we'll have more than one answer. Maybe there's multiple ways to do it. Any ideas? It's okay if you're wrong. It doesn't matter. Because even if you're wrong for one of the questions, you're right for the other one. So you're correct no matter what. parentheses. So I want to put two numbers together. The negative 12 and the 5, and then is that for equivalent or not equivalent? Okay, so let's see. If we group together, am I putting the negative inside or on the outside? Inside? Okay, so if I put it like this, right? Okay, do we agree or disagree? What do we think?
I think the negative should go like outside.
So if I put it outside, so why was this one? Why did you not like this one?
Because that's distribution.
Because then I'm distributing the 9, right? So okay, let's see. What if I put the negative out here?
And then
Do we still agree?
it's subtracting right
It's subtracting. Okay, but remember this negative could also be a 1. So then when I distribute, I need that negative 12, but then what's going to happen to the 5? But negative times positive is going to turn into negative 5. So does that work? No. But these are good options for down here, right? I could put it like this. I could put it like... Something I could change about this one to make it equivalent is if I wanted to change this sign, what would this sign need to be? Subtraction. So then I had minus times minus, then I would get. But let's see. Where else could I put those parentheses? The 8 and the 9. So if I put it like this, is there anything distributing funny? No. So this one works. That would work, right? Because if I took away these parentheses, nothing's going to change, right? Nothing's distributing, so those are kind of just grouping them together, but nothing is going to change. Nothing has to be distributed, so we can put them on those first. Did anybody put them on the middle two numbers, the 9 and the 12? So again, that one might be a little tricky, right? So we have 8x minus 9. So if we put them in here, again, you'd have to be careful. It's probably going to be no. Because here, am I distributing something? Yes, an 8x, right? So that gets a little funky. Same thing if I put it this way. Now I'm distributing a negative, so you got to be a little bit careful. But if you put it on those first ones, you're not distributing anything. Any questions? That is. Alright, that is the end of the first part. Now we're going to move on to the second part, which is going to be lesson 22. Okay, so you got to flip over a couple of pages. When I have the same variable, what can I do? You can add or subtract what? It starts with a... Alright, so part 2, this starts on page 601. We're going to skip over the warm-up since we did one just like that. So we're going to do the matching activity. So each expression in column A has an equivalent expression in column B. So we're going to quickly do these. Alright, so I'm going to switch this one up a little bit just so we have a little bit better practice for the activity we're about to do. Instead of matching, I just want us to combine like terms wherever we can. So instead of doing the matching, we're going to use each one of these and see if we can combine anything. So I want to make them all small. smaller. So I have 9x plus 5y in parentheses, and then plus 3x plus 7y. Okay. Do I need those parentheses there? Is anything going to change if I got rid of them? No, right? Nothing's distributing. We just have plus, so nothing is just going to distribute. So I really could rewrite this as 9x plus 5y plus 3x and plus 7y. So tell me, what can I combine? 9x and 3x, and that gives me, add the coefficients, I get 12x. What else can I combine? 5y, 7y, that gives me 12y. And what's going to be my... So this guy means the same thing as that big, ugly mess, right? I can condense it down to be much simpler. Let's try it with this next one. So we have almost the same thing. 9x plus 5y. This time I have minus 3x plus 7y. So this time, can I just get rid of the parentheses? No, because minus 3x is fine, but what should this guy be with the 7? It's going to become a negative because this negative is going to distribute inside. So when I rewrite it, is this guy fine? 9x plus 5y? Yeah. So 9x plus 5y minus 3x, and then what? Negative 7. Now when I combine, we have to be more careful. So, are there any x's I can combine? 9 and what kind of? So it's going to be 9 minus 3, which is 9 minus 3? It's just 6. Right? 6x. And then if I combine my y's, this time I have 5y and negative 7y. So 5 minus 7y, right? So that's going to be a minus. Okay, see if you can try D, E, and F. So D, E, and F, just condense them down. Okay, again, we're not going to match with the other side, but see if you can combine the like terms and condense those for expressions. Had a busy couple of weeks, so I haven't done note checks, but remember, I'm going to do that again this Friday, so if you've been kind of not taking notes, let's make sure we get those done, because Friday we will do another note check. for the sake of time, I'm gonna have us do this together. So we have for did I skip C? Yeah, I skipped C. That's okay. For D, so 9x minus 7y plus 3x and then plus 5y. So what can I combine on that one? For D, the 9 and a 3, and those are both, they're what? Positive, so that just becomes 12x. And then my y's, what do I have? Negative 7 and so negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2y. Perfect. Alrighty. Part E, what can I combine? I have a 9 and a what? 3. So that becomes 12x. Then I got my y's. Negative 7y, negative 5y, so I get a negative 12y. Negative 7 minus 5, right, so negative 12. And then this last one's got more negatives, so I have, what kind of x's do I have? Positive 9 and negative 3, so 9 minus 3 is 6x, and then my y's, negative 7, negative 5, so just like part E, right? We got negative 12. That's why we have to be extra careful when we do add parentheses or change the order of things, because it can change our final result. Alright. Okay, so next part of our notes today, we have 4 questions on there. But we're going to turn it into more of a game, and I might, if we get through those, I'll throw some extra questions up there. I'm going to split us into 4 groups, okay? So, anybody still writing this, or can I? Okay. Alright, so we're going to split into 4 groups. Trying to figure out, I know a lot of us are missing, so we'll kind of do, there's, I want us to be like deep-ish. So let's do 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll do like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So kind of like from here over, you'll all be one group. These 2 rows, you'll be one group. Same thing over here. We'll have these 8, and then you 4, and then 4. So we got like 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, and then 4 groups. Okay. Alright, so what we're gonna do is I will put the problem up on the board. Okay, so there's the 4 problems. Everybody will solve it. So even if it's not your group answering, everybody's gonna solve it. I will randomly pick which group is going to answer the question. And then, okay, so I will randomly pick a group to answer. Okay, and then from that group, I will randomly pick one person to answer it. So you need to make sure everybody in your group is kind of on the same page, because you don't know who's going to be representing you. Any questions so far? There's kind of a lot of directions, so I just want to make sure that. So, I'm randomly picking a group, and then I'm randomly picking a person from that group to answer. So make sure everybody in your group can solve the question. Okay? And then after that, whoever's group is picked, you're going to answer the question. Okay? If you get it wrong, we'll just move on to another group. Okay? But if you get it right, you get to come risk it for points. Okay? So I have all these little cards that have random amounts on it. So like it'll say 5 points, or I think there's some 10s, or I might have thrown a 20 in there. Okay? So all these random points, you get to pick one. So let's say you picked the 5. Then I'm going to ask you, do you want to take it or do you want to risk it? So if you take it, you get the 5 points for your group. And then we move on to the next question. If you want to risk it, you get to pick another one. So let's say I picked 5 again. Now you've got 10 points. So they keep adding up. And let's say you pick again, and you get another 5. Now you have 15 points. So every time I'm going to ask you, do you want to keep or do you want to keep risking it? So let's say you've gotten to 15 now, and you're getting greedy, and you're like, I want to risk it again. And then you get 0. 0 means you've lost all the points. Okay, so that means that 15 that you had picked up, you've now lost, and now you're at 0. No, there's a few zeros. Okay, so you keep picking. You could have just stopped at 15 and went away, and you get all 15 points. But you chose 0, so you get 0 for that.
What are the points for?
Whatever group wins, I'm gonna excuse you from Alex this week.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the incentive. If your group wins, everybody in the group will get Alex taken off for this week. So you want. Any questions? Don't worry. All you have to worry about is solving the problem, and then the rules will do it. Okay. All right. So first problem. If you want to kind of scoot closer to your group, because you're gonna have to work together, make sure everybody in your group knows how to do it. Alrighty? So you're gonna start working on number 1. So it says, write each expression with fewer terms. So just like we did with those problems, combine like terms. So what is the most condensed version you can make that? Okay. Make sure. Okay, and I know you can do. Alright, so I'm gonna give you about a minute or so. Work with your group. Number 1, combine like terms. Write it with fewer terms. See how you can write it with fewer terms. Okay, and then on that first one, I don't expect you to come up with just like a number, because I know it doesn't have variables. See if there's anything you can factor out. So remember from last week, factoring and distributing? See if you can find a common factor and take it out. Alright, so work together. Okay, so number 1, I want you to factor. I don't want you to give me one answer at the end. Okay, I hear a lot of it already. I don't want to see you do 3 times 15, which is 45, plus 4 times 15, which is, that is not what I want to see. I want you to factor. Is there something you can take out and write it with parentheses? I do not want your answer to be just a number. We did it last week, so maybe look at your notes from last week. I think it was Thursday, maybe, when we did factoring. There was a table. I don't know if you remember. Half the table was distributing and half the table was factoring. So see if maybe you can look back at those notes. I feel like it was Thursday. Try what? Factoring, not just multiplying. 5 plus 4 times 3. Do you see how both terms are multiplying by 3? So I can take out a 3 and left with 5 plus 4. So see if you can figure that out. That should have been a big hint. You need to make sure if you redistributed that 15 in there, that you test it out. Make it a plus, make it you're taking out a positive. You need to make sure all your signs in here. Like, so if you take out a positive, you need a
I got 15 parentheses 3 plus 4.
But over here, you need a negative.
Raise up 15, parentheses,
3 plus
This is
4.
what they're gonna do.
3 plus 1.
Alright, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. Finish up that one, 30 seconds.
It makes sense, right?
Are any groups done? Yeah. Okay, make sure everybody in your group knows how to do it. Okay. My far group by the window, you're gonna be group 1. My next group over, group 2, group 3, and then group 4. So remember your group number, because I'm gonna. Alright, group 3. Oh, group 3. You're up. You're group 3. Alrighty. Okay. Do we have an answer? Group 3. Okay. So I'm gonna pick somebody randomly. Okay, if you are, let's see, I'm just gonna come up with random things. If you were born in February, anybody? Nobody? Okay, oh, you are? Okay. Alrighty, so you are our group volunteer, you're the representative. Can you come write the answer up for number 1? So you don't have to show us how to do it, just write your answer up. Other groups be ready, because if he's wrong, your group might get called, right? I would use this one now. So be ready, because it might be you. 15. Oh, you can. Let me open the door. 3. Do we agree? 15 parentheses 3 plus 4 minus 5. Thumbs up. Yes, right. You could take out the 15. They all had that common factor. And then the biggest part I was watching out for was this was a minus 5. So nice job. Alrighty. Alrighty. Let me mix these around a little bit. They're all stuck together. it. 10. Alrighty, do you want to keep it or do you want to risk it?
You guys want to risk it?
Keep it or risk it? You're gonna risk it. Hold on. 0. Oh man, alrighty. Okay, no points. Alrighty, number 2. Okay, number 2, you're working as a group. This one should be a lot quicker. I'm giving you like a minute. Okay, number 2, everybody work together. You don't know whose group might be called. They're combining on this one. So kind of like we did on the combine like terms.
No, we just do the numbers. Yeah.
Combine like terms. I want it smaller. So you're not factoring like the last one. You're combining like terms. Think about the problems we just did before this. Like A, B, C, D. Combine like terms. You can combine coefficients if they have the same what?
Variable. Yeah. Wait, so we're putting there.
Combine like terms. We're not factoring. Combining like terms. That's right. Combine it. Alright, 30 seconds. Combine it as far as you can. Alright, I think most groups had it, so for the sake of time, because time is running out very quickly. Group 2. Group 2. Okay, if you have Mr. Mejia for AB. If you have Mrs. Circo for AB. Alright, oh, let me put the right slide up here. Two. 2x, so agree or disagree? Agree, because we have 3x plus 4x, which is 7x, and then minus 5x, which is perfect. Okay, ready? Excellent. Five. Risk it. Another 5.
Just leave it.
Okay, take it or leave it?
Just leave it.
Leave it.
Leave it?
Leave it.
Alright, fancy.
No.
Alright, so group, that was 2, right? 10. We're in the lead so far. Alrighty, number 3, work on number 3. You are, well, it's already factored, so you need to combine. It's already factored. This is when it's factored form.
So it's just
So maybe you want to distribute and combine. I don't know. Maybe you want to distribute and combine things.
okay. 5, 4, 8,
What do you guys have so far?
What's that?
Bracelets that you guys are getting.
I don't get pinched.
Hey, Trudy, any groups done? You still working? You're done? Alrighty, in order to keep it fair, okay, we're out of time, so we'll finish this, I guess, a warm up tomorrow. So, you can finish that problem at home, and then that'll be like, what we'll start with tomorrow. Because I know we only have 2 minutes, and I want to make sure you're not just guessing, you're actually solving it to the best of your ability. So, we will finish this tomorrow. I promise the points will continue. We'll finish it tomorrow.
Yeah. St.